Hello everybody, it's me, Riffraff Hornhelm, and I'm back again with another presentation from the Dwarven Vault, and today we have a monster review. We're going to keep talking about elementals. At least there's only 4, right? Today we're going to talk to you about the Fire Elemental, one of my favorites. The Fire Elemental is as brought to us from the original monster manual for use with basic Dungeons & Dragons, Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, or what's typically known as 1E today. So the Fire Elemental, this is one of my favorites. I always enjoyed this one out of all the elementals. It causes a lot of destruction. And of course, it's much like the other elementals. It has an armor class of 2. It has either 8, 12, or 16 hit dice. Once again, I'll put in the final credits the link to the other video that covers the shared attributes of all elementals. And it's a elemental that has to have a source to allow it to burn. But if it has a source, oh boy, you want to watch out. Any inflammable object that it touches, it will cause to burst into flames. Now, that's pretty cool. And it really doesn't have much in the way of vulnerabilities against creatures because it's only fire-using creatures, so like a red dragon or something like that. They get -1 on each die, I think it is, for hit points of damage. But that's it, which is pretty weak. Now, they also have some extreme vulnerabilities. They can't cross any kind of non-flammable liquid. It doesn't have to be water. I guess it could be like apple juice or something like that, but it can't cross anything like that, which is definitely a vulnerability. If it doesn't have a source of material to burn, eventually, if it runs out of that before it runs out of time, it'll disappear. Now, once again, these are stupid creatures. They're very low intelligence, and of course, all elementals are. And they all resent being taken from their home plane and drawn to the prime material plane. They do 3 to 24 points of damage per hit. But amazingly enough, I always thought it would be, and I'm not going to say I haven't done this before, but it doesn't have like a cyclone type ability like the air elemental does. I think that would be appropriate for this, but that's up to the DM. So, in talking to my fellow dwarves and so forth about it, yeah, we don't like these. Beards catch on fire really fast around this sucker. We don't like that at all. Of course, the rest of us can catch on fire too, and we don't like that any better. But fortunately, once again, they have a huge vulnerability that every elemental shares. Distract the summoner. Attack them. Don't ever bother trying to attack the creature itself. Even though it doesn't have any special magic resistance, you're kind of wasting your time. All you really need to do is to distract the summoner. You do that, game over. And they may end up suffering the fate they had intended for you when it turns on them. Huh? Good idea, right? So I have to tell you that I really, really enjoy using this, and I've used this many times as a dungeon master myself. But of course, we had to go out to the greater Hornhelm community and ask them about it and say, well, what about the fire elemental? There was a certain maniac glee amongst the DMs I spoke to. They seem to enjoy using this too. It's a lot of fun. It's intense. It's a short period of time because once again, every single elemental that comes into the prime material plane is limited in existence at its very best to the number of turns equal to the level of the summoner. So it's not going to be there for all that long. And when it's there, boy, can it cause havoc. How to prevent forest fires? Yeah, don't summon a fire elemental. That's a great way to lose the entire forest. So, of course, going out to the greater Hornhelm community, we had to ask them about this and say, well, what about the fire elemental? And of course, the game masters and dungeon masters came back and said, "Oh yeah, like I said, this is a fun creature." And the ranking that they gave it, I thought was appropriate. They gave it a 6.5 to a 7. They said it didn't last long, but it sure caused a lot of laughs while it was there. In talking to players about it, they were a little bit more impressed by it, and they gave it a 7 pretty much across the board. These are nasty creatures and ones that you definitely want to avoid. But there are ways of getting around some of the issues. If you're in a corridor and one's coming your direction, well, empty your water flask across the whole corridor and it can't get to you. Can't cross the water. So they have their vulnerabilities. Tough creature. Very interesting. One that I really like. So, that, my friends, is the fire elemental. We hope you found today's presentation interesting, educational, amusing, all that kind of good stuff. If you did, please be so kind as to leave us a like. Consider subscribing if you haven't. Tell your friends. Leave us a comment. But by all means, come back and see us again real soon. Thank you so much for your kind support. Take care, everyone. And remember, dwarves rock!